Mr. Speaker, sir, the governor's private life has been raised serious private life issues. No tangible evidence has been produced to indict the governor. And as I said, this is the first monumental question where we have a sitting governor who has a sitting husband. And how do they deal with such a husband? It is a serious question. And it will be a determinant question. Do husbands of governors enjoy the same benefit first ladies enjoy? It is not easy. And coming from my brothers and sisters from Meru, I'm told none was elected as an MCA. The society.
Under council.
Or what?
That is not factual. Under council. That is not factual because we have one elected MCA who is a lady. Just for your information.
Thank you very much. Out of the many, one was elected. I leave it there. One was elected. Accepting that reality, and I'm appealing to my brothers and sisters, let us not be seen that the governor is facing what she's facing because she's a lady, but she's equal to the task. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The question about illegal appointments of people without coming to the county assembly. The Public Service Board is still intact. The county assembly is still intact. You are admitting that you have passed a budget to pay somebody who has not appeared before you. That person is earning salary. You have not gotten the CEC for finance. You have not gotten the Public Service Board. You have not gotten yourselves to internally ask yourself, what is your role when the law is broken? Madam Speaker, there are people that have been sent home and they are still earning. What is the human resource manual that was done by the Public Service Commission, Public Service Board that came to you approved it? What does it say in terms of interdiction, in terms of suspension, in terms of what does it say? Where is the role of the county assembly on those issues? Was it ever brought here? The question about the court martial, the question about the court, these people called the marshals. The mover said the justification is that they have been created to ensure funds that were being stolen from women are protected. A noble idea to protect our sisters, our mothers, our aunties. Is it what you are going against? Is it what you want women of Meru to continue to be mugged and their phones taken? Assess yourself. Madam Speaker, the bloated workforce is that, how does a governor sign letters other than the letters of the cabinet? No letter has been produced where a governor signed an appointment letter. They are officers, technical officers, who do needs assessment, who come out with the specifications of the qualifications, who recruit. Meru people watching know very well what Meru was in terms of traffic jam. Today, the county knows the input of those marshals. But the allegation against the marshal is that they are arresting. They are arresting and the police are there. Why can't the police arrest them if they are doing anything illegal? Because credit, and I'm telling you members of the county assembly, credit for those people for reduction of the jam within the town. As I said, let us assess, do we need the jam to make Meru town a town full of traffic jam? Or do we want business to grow by making Meru a town where vehicle movement, traffic movement is easy? 5, allegation 5 was about the contempt of the court, which I dealt with, and that is clear. Then there is the Timbuktu video of the husband, where somebody, allegedly to be the husband, is threatening to chase the CEO. This is a country of the rule of law. You impeach somebody because somebody has said that we will chase somebody? Not the governor herself say. There are no charges against the husband before this. On the question of the public road, I was told there is an act of 2018 on how to honor heroes. I totally agree with that. Is there the powers of the governor bestowed under what is called executive order? At the national level, it also goes to presidential decrees. Does the governor have the power to issue executive orders? Are the laws of executive orders subject to parliamentary approval? So, the act is there, but there is residual power that is remained in the office of the governor. So that every time the governor is coming to your ward, you will ask, Governor, maji hapa, kisima ya maji. And the governor gives an executive order, the CEC water, put this thing there. Does it come to parliament for approval? Don't take everything, because tomorrow you are going to be the governor. You will have no power left in that office. There is a reason why the governor can decide to name a road without coming before parliament. The contempt of the assembly, I have only 2 more groups, then I give my other. Contempt of the court assembly, the contempt of this assembly. I have laid bare that the governor comes here during the opening state and address of the state of the nation. He, she cannot come under summons to answer questions. The clear separation of power under the Montesquieu rules that there is the legislature and there is the executive. Once the legislature wants information from the executive, it summons the CECs. The CECs come and explain. Similar to Parliament. Standing orders of this assembly have not checked. If they have not been amended, they should amend the CECs to come and address issues from the executive, just like the National Assembly and Senate. But the constitutional provision on summoning the governor, my good friend Mutuma will build. The question of bullying. My brother Paul, if you are bullied, I pass my apologies. Because if you are bullied, I pass my apologies. You had the remedy to take up under the Cybercrime Bullying Act. You could have taken to the police and pursued that. That you didn't. I take that that was a political statement. Article 26, Article 28 is clear on human dignity. The assembly must be dealt with human dignity. Completely, I agree. Are you dealing with the governor under the same Article 28 of human dignity? Let it not only be on one side, let it be on both sides. Have you produced any statements you've made against the governor? I'm sure none has ever made that statement. It is only the governor and her team who are making those statements. Are you in the group of politicians? Have you looked at the freedom of expression? The right for everybody to have association and the right of expression? Is the assembly trying to curtail the freedom of expression? Is it defamatory? That's what I said my brother could have gone for defamation. He's never gone. The threshold is so high. The Director General, the DG, is paying his bills. The DG is paying his bills. He has not been assigned duties according to the motion to impeach him. So he's incurring bills for what? If you are saying he's never been assigned duties, which bills then is he incurring? Because the bills are for the purpose of execution of his office mandate. Lastly, the question of statutory powers to transfer staff. Is the assembly required to approve transfer of clerks within the executive? That is our discretionary job. Lastly, on the question about the meetings that he has been excluded from sitting in those meetings, I have clearly defended the governor that that's not true. And if somebody was removed from not sitting in a meeting, it is discretion on the chair to convene and who to sit. I finally submit, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the motion for impeachment does not meet the threshold, both legally, factually, evidentially, to warrant it being passed by these honorable brothers and sisters of mine, by these honorable members of the County Assembly, because of how we have dealt with that matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to sit, and I allow him to conclude, if you allow me.
Thank you, Council Dunstan Omari, for your contribution.
Thank you.
You can sit down. And also I've seen that we make arrangements for Brisa Sonda so that the sugar levels can be okay. Yes, Amutuma, you can continue. Come, please make some arrangement for them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the honorable members of the House. I do not know whether to be happy or glad to be here. I think it breaks my heart, especially coming from this region, that we are here again debating on whether we should impeach our governor in less than 12 months after we had this motion. I would have wished that the circumstances were different, that we were discussing more serious issues that touch on the lives of the common people of Meru. And I say that as a voter in this region and as a person who expects service delivery from both the governor and the representatives of the people in the name of MCS. I will address three issues that my learned friend has touched on, just to clarify. Then I will go straight to my closing remarks, because I think most of the issues have been responded to in a substantive manner. One is on the much hyped China trip, where the governor is being accused of sending her relatives, and in the process, funds belonging to the public were lost or misappropriated. Mr. Speaker, sir, your own document that has been tabled in this House by the mover of this motion is a letter dated 25th April 2023. That is the letter that was inviting the governor to the China trip. It was not an invitation for a technical committee. Let us be very clear on that, Mr. Speaker, sir. This is a letter that was inviting the governor to benchmark. This is a letter that was inviting the governor from a private company for her to be able to visit China and form an opinion as to whether there is need for her to borrow a few good practices from there and import them to Meru. There is no indication in that letter that indeed she should be joined by a technical committee. If you may allow me read, Mr. Speaker, sir, paragraph 1 says, "We are delighted to invite you and your distinguished members to visit us in China for you to witness and benchmark our state-of-the-art linear accelerator machines designed and manufactured in China in reference to our planned cancer treatment center in Meru." Mr. Speaker, sir, the mover of this motion should have indicated what was the essence of this visit. If governor chose to go to this visit alone, it would have still be within her rights. There was no requirement for her to go with any technical committee. It was not a study, a trip. It was an invitation for the governor to go and witness what is happening there and come back and commence the process of having a similar project in Meru. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the second last paragraph of that letter is very clear on who was footing the bill in this trip, and says, "You are expected to visit us in late May and June for a minimum of 1 week. We will cover all your expenses, that of your entire delegation in China, including travel, hotels, and meals." So how then can we fault the governor for using public funds in a trip that was privately funded by a private company in China that wanted to come and invest in Meru? Surely, honorable members, we are not being fair. This cannot be a ground to impeach a governor accusing her of misappropriating funds when there were no funds allocated or even utilized in this trip. On the other issue, my learned friend has told you about the naming of one road after the first gentleman. For clarity purposes, my learned friend Mr. Omari has not admitted, and I want that to go on record, that indeed there was a road named under or in the name of the first gentleman. What he's saying is, the governor in our wisdom is allowed to do certain acts. But in this case, we deny that there was any naming of a road. I was expecting the move of this motion to table evidence before this court that are in tandem with our statutes on how a road has been named. When I walk along the Meru streets, Nairobi streets, and any other street, there are clear signages that indicate Jorincheke Street, Moi Avenue, Tomboya Street. I invite the move of this motion to show me one signage that reads Muregabaichu Road. None. So how is it that we are talking about naming a road that has not even been named at all? Where is that signage? Where is that instrument in the hand and seal of the governor naming that road, so that then we are able to accuse her of breaching the law? A Facebook extract is what was produced. The governor states that that was just a humorous comment on social media. Does that constitute an executive order? Does that constitute a government directive? It does not. So we cannot then rely on social media extracts and then accuse the governor of having done or not done a specific act. Let that be clear. And I was expecting the move of the motion to be able to do that. The other issue that I want to address before I go to my closing remarks is the issue of contempt of assembly. And allow me state this. This particular count does not exist under our statutes. I was expecting the move of the motion to show us which particular standing order, which particular statute, which particular provision of the Constitution the governor breached by failing to appear before the House Committee. And at what point does failure to appear before House Committee amount to contempt of assembly? My understanding is that the governor was invited. She responded through a letter requesting for interpretation and proper application of Article 175 and 195, whether the Speaker can indeed summon a sitting governor. There was no response from the Speaker giving directions on whether it was provided for under the law that the governor could appear before the House Committee to answer to charges. In a proper setup, when there is a response to a summons, the person then who initiated the summons is expected to respond to that particular complaint or concern that has been raised. Yes.
Please allow me to inform you that the first letter that summoned the governor was cited by the Speaker. And nobody else has the powers to write a letter to the governor except the Speaker. In the first instance, the letter that I received from the governor stated very clearly that the governor was attending a meeting convened by His Excellency the Deputy President. A reminder that I wrote again the second letter requesting the governor to appear to the committee. She said that she cannot appear to the committee. So generally, she gave two contradicting letters. And I believe by the time she wrote the first letter, then she must have consulted the lawyer. So please bear with us on that. It is clear, the way she wrote the letters, she knew that she's supposed to appear before the House Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. In my usual duties, when the court summons, you fail to appear, what they do is to issue a warrant of arrest. If you then respond to summons, giving an explanation as to why you cannot appear, then there is a determination on that issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, what then we expected is that once the governor raised the issue of interpretation and application of Article 175, and 195, the Speaker ought to have informed the governor that indeed the opinion of the House and the Speaker is that they have the powers to summon. Only then would the governor be in a position to seek further advice and make a decision on whether to appear or not. In any case, Mr. Speaker, sir, let us interrogate the contempt of assembly count, assuming that indeed the county assembly had the powers to invite the governor before it. How did this form the basis of the impeachment motion? The impeachment motion itself is dated 16th of October 2023. All the members in support of that motion signed the motion of impeachment on or before the 16th of October 2023. The records will bear me witness. The count that forms the basis for contempt of assembly is based on the report by the JLAC committee. That report was not tabled, debated, and adopted by the House until the 17th of October 2023. Indeed, the mover of the impeachment motion first tabled the impeachment motion, then thereafter the JLAC report was tabled, discussed, and adopted. How then did a motion that had not been tabled before the House form the basis of impeachment in a motion that had been prepared a day before tabling? Mr. Speaker, sir, my humble submission is that this is not a count that ought to have found itself in the impeachment motion. On that basis, it is defective. Having said that, I will go straight to my closing remarks so that the House can proceed to its next business. And I'll begin by just asking a question. Why are we here today? The members of the County Assembly, elected and nominated, council representing the governor, the Honorable Speaker, why are we here today? Now, the County Assembly, and I do not wish to lecture you on your mandate, you have three main roles. One is legislative, second is oversight, and the third one is representation. You are seated here today representing 45 wards of this great county. Therefore, whatever you say, whatever position you take must be that which has been given to you by your people. So as you sit here, ask yourself, am I speaking for and on behalf of the people who elected me? Or am I speaking on behalf of other voices? If you're not speaking for your people, then you have failed in your representation mandate. That is a question that I will leave for your conscience and interrogation. Of course, we are not here for any legislative business because we are not passing any laws. So I'll not talk about your legislative role. I will go straight to the other role, which is oversight. Oversight is a daily, it's a routine duty of a member of County Assembly. And today is one of those rare moments when a County Assembly exercises the harshest form of oversight. That is, discuss the impeachment of a sitting governor who has been elected in the same manner as you. Now, are we here to impeach the governor? Are we here to impeach the governor? I am glad that you've said that, because it means you failed in your role. You are not here to impeach the governor. You are here to interrogate whether the governor is guilty or not. So if you came here with a formed opinion that you are impeaching the governor, and I'm glad you say, yes, you are here to impeach the governor, then how are you expected to interrogate issues fairly and render a just determination when you've already formed your mind that we are here to impeach the governor? It simply means that we have gone out of your out of our oversight role and taken a stand when we are supposed to be a quasi-judicial body interrogating facts. My reading of Section 33 and 181 of the Constitution says that you shall look at the grounds for impeachment, that you shall interrogate the facts, that you shall give the governor a chance to be heard. Only then will you form an opinion whether you're going to impeach or not. So can we surely say that we came here with an impartial mind, sitting as an impartial court or quasi-judicial body? Are we ready to listen to the facts, interrogate them objectively? But your answer was that we came here to impeach the governor, which is not what you're here to do. You're here to interrogate, then render a judgment. Just to demonstrate that fact, and perhaps that will be my last bit. So then, what are you expected to do? You cannot take a stand as a house. The only person who is supposed to take a stand in this motion is the mover of the motion. Because him, it is expected. He has interrogated the issues and he is deemed to be the accuser. You're seated as a court. You have seen nothing, you have heard nothing, until the mover of the motion talks about the allegations. Then you compare those allegations against the defense put forward by the governor, and then, just like a judge, render your decision. At some point, you and I will face the judicial system in this country, either as a complainant or as a defendant. When you do that, I want you just to close your eyes for a moment and imagine appearing before a judge who has already made statements pronouncing your guilt. The first application you do is for that judge to recuse himself from the matter. When I hear what you're saying, honorable members, it is an indication that you have gone out of your way, joined the mover of the motion, and that whatever we are doing here is an exercise in futility. Because you are not capable of looking at the matters objectively.
Council,
You've already taken a stand.
Mutuma.
Yes.
You have 30 minutes, but please be mindful of the language that you are using. You cannot tell the honorable members that what they are doing is work in futility. It's not right. These are honorable members, please address them with decorum. Please, I gave you 2.5 hours with a lot of respect. Please respect the honorable members. And this is an honorable house. You understand that what I mean.
Thank you. Thank
Please
you, Mr.
continue.
Speaker, sir. Perhaps I can rephrase and try to be a bit lenient with my language. The governor's feeling and position and perception is that a decision has already been made outside this walls of this assembly. So that a decision to impeach her was formed elsewhere and then transported into this house. I am merely communicating the sentiments of my client. You will forgive me for just being loyal to my client. Now, then, for you to be an impartial court, quasi-judicial body, what do you need to do? Number one, you need not to have a stake in the proceedings. You cannot be seen to have interest in the proceedings. The moment you have interests that conflict with your impartial role, then you're not capable of rendering a just and impartial decision. As I move on to the next point, is that I expected members of this honorable house to put Honorable Kawira to task, to question him on the allegations, for him to produce witnesses before you, for you to be able to look at the issues and the allegations fairly.
In this case, Honorable Kawira is not the subject, because I see it in our document, a list of 64 members who signed. So these members signed. I don't think they signed a document that they not read. They must have read and then signed. So now how are you saying that they put the majority leader or the mover into task? Listen, let's move on.
Thank you, thank you. Perhaps you will allow me to substantiate that thought a bit. Is that I took a lot of time to explain the composition of this house and the purpose that brings this house to sit in the manner it is. It is a quasi-judicial body. Quasi-judicial body means that you're sitting to hear charges, that you're sitting to hear the complaint from the complainant, that you do not take the face value of the issues. And that's why I said it would have been expected that the person who accuses, and in this instance is the mover of the motion, should be put to task to provide evidence. In law, we call that the burden of proof. I have not heard from the members, or perhaps maybe I'm here, maybe it's too early for me to make that determination, members of the county assembly demanding the mover of this motion to discharge his burden of proof, so that it is clear in our mind that we are sitting here as a quasi-judicial body. And the reason why, Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Council, I gave you the opportunity after the mover moved the motion to also make a response. The next stage that we are going to is I'm going to allow the members to make their contributions. And then lastly, I'll give you another opportunity for you also to make your comment after the members have contributed. And then also lastly, I'll give the mover an opportunity to respond. Then we move on. So probably you can reserve those remarks now for 8 hours.
Most obliged.
Thank you. You can continue.
Mr. Speaker, sir. So lastly, and the reason why Her Excellency the Governor of Meru, who appears before you as an accused person, feels that a decision to impeach her is not based on any merit, is not based on any facts, is, among other things, our observation of the conduct of the members of this house, outside this house. Allow me say this, because if I do not say this, I will not have discharged my duty as an advocate sent by my client. On 14th of October 2023 rather, a number of the members of this house were spotted, and it is captured on both print and electronic media, taking an oath to impeach the governor before the Njurincheke Council of Elders. That was on 14th of October. Ladies and gentlemen, this motion was brought to the House on 16th of October. So these members, Mr. Speaker, sir, were influenced at the expense of their lives and their families to take a stand on whether they are going to impeach a governor or not. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Speaker was in that meeting. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the mover of this motion was in that meeting. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, sir, one Mwenda Ali was in that meeting.
Council Mutuma, I'm a senior member. Please resume your seat. You don't stand when the chair is talking. I'm a senior elder of Njurincheke and the former Deputy Secretary Njurincheke for 7 years. So there is nothing that can be done in the shrine. I must be there, not unless I'm out of the country. Please take note of that. And I believe also the members here are members of Njurincheke. So please, by the virtue of being there, they are members of the group. You can continue.
Thank you for that guidance and clarification, Mr. Speaker, sir, because then it confirms my allegation that indeed a number of MCAs in this sitting were present. What then I am concerned about on behalf of my client and which my client has asked me to raise before this House, is the oathing ceremony, where she witnessed members of this House confirming that they will be part and parcel of the impeachment, and the person administering the oath giving even a warning that should you then backslide from this oath, you're putting your family at risk. Is that the motivation that brings us to this House today, to impeach the governor? If that is the case, then it is a sad story. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Council Mutuma. Yes, Mwenda, you can continue, but I believe you have like how many minutes? Or are you through? Thank you. Then you can make your final remarks.
Final remarks. Mr. Speaker, sir, the members we are addressing, a grave issue has been raised in the Muskali Combo case. The question of the election petition being nullified was on the basis of administration of a shiruru, a traditional oath-taking. If that is true, because I don't belong to this community, is watching on you. Meru TV is live, Baite TV is live, all the other TVs are live. There reaches a time when the Meru County people are bigger than the leadership of the Meru leaders. Raise up to the many Meru people looking at you, your children looking at you, your voters looking at you. We rest our case, but as we said, we still have hope that what Mutuma said, there must be an end to this drama in Meru. Business is stopped. Service delivery in Meru is at crossroad. We are busy fighting government. Mr. Speaker, sir, we rest our matter and we have full confidence that these members of the assembly, the leadership of the county, the county assembly will leave to the but remember, avenues are many. And that's what my good brother is saying, that Wambora is a big story to be remembered in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please put off the mic. Is there anyone? Thank you. Thank you, Council Danson Omari. And I believe we did as you requested us. We gave you 2.5 hours, and you have taken 2 hours. And at this junction of members, I allow debate at this time, and any member wishing to make a contribution can catch the speakers. By that one of members, let me question you that you'll have a maximum of 5 minutes. If you take more than 5 minutes, then one of members will have to cut you short. Please, what is it, Honorable Kenya?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Once again, my name is Kenya Mwanda. For the purpose of records, Honorable Speaker, I'll be very brief in addressing the matters that have been prosecuted before us. And on a light note, Honorable Speaker, the choice of the council for the governor, who more often than not represent criminals, tells a lot on the matter that we are handling before us, Honorable Speaker. And number two, Honorable Speaker, the fact that...
Honorable Kirinya, are you alluding that our council, our cousin is a criminal? Or what are you really alluding to?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am saying that more often than not, the council for the governor represent criminals. So the choice of the council by the governor leaves a lot to be desired, Honorable Speaker. Number two, Honorable Speaker.
Kirinya, those are not good ones. He is a professional lawyer. It's a career. Please withdraw those ones and then continue, please.
I will withdraw, Honorable Speaker. And number two.
And yes, your father. Yes.
Number two.
His age and your age, I'm sure he can be a father. So please make choice of the ones that you use.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm guided accordingly.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Number two, there was an issue, Honorable Speaker, that was brought before us about prosecuting an impeachment motion for a stranger. And the continued stay of the councils prosecuting the matter, Honorable Speaker, shows that the motion for impeachment by one Honorable Mawira Carrier was correctly filed, and it is the motion that is being prosecuted here, both by the members, by Honorable Mawira Carrier and the councils for the governor. Therefore, we are very well constituted, and I thank the Council Mutuma for alluding to the fact that this is a quasi-judicial exercise. Number 3, Honorable Speaker, there was an issue of standing order number 90. I would like to clarify that the standing order number 91, number 92, 93, and 94 all are subject to standing order number 95, where it says that notwithstanding this standing order, the Speaker may allow reference to any matter before the House or a committee. Therefore, the Honorable Speaker allowing the motion to proceed and looked into all the matters that were presented. And the other thing I would like to dwell on, Honorable Speaker, is the fact that there are quite a number of issues that the councils have misled the people. And one of the issues is to actually mislead the community that all Merus are relatives. I am happy that the council alluded to the fact of consanguinity. I am a scientist, and the consanguineous marriages are not encouraged because of genetic disorders, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, the council should not mislead our community that we are all relatives. We will end up not getting marriages from Meru because people will fear that indeed they are all, relatives. Therefore, that misleading statement should not be taken seriously by members of this House or members of our community. Honorable Speaker, there is an issue that even the council talked about on Wambora case. And the Wambora issue, there was even a case law about Justice Kariuki Mate and Martin Wambora, Honorable Speaker, that you cannot stop a county assembly from exercising its constitutional powers under Article 185. Therefore, he is right to admit that indeed the matters that we are discussing here are not sub judice to whatever the process that is going on in the court. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, there is another misleading statement from the council that when impeaching a governor, the process must be followed to the letter, shall be followed to the letter, will be followed to the letter. But again, Honorable Speaker, the council goes on to eat the cake and still want to have it by saying that one must not follow the law when naming a road after any other person. Therefore, it is either we follow the law to the letter when impeaching the governor and also when naming a road, or we don't follow the law. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I'm kindly requesting that the councils should not make misleading statements that are meant to mislead members of the public and also members of this Honorable House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kenya. Yes, Honorable Muchui.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jim Muchui, representing the great people of Adwana and the majority whip in the County Assembly of Meru. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that today is really a great day for the people of Meru. And I am happy that when the council, Transit Amari, started speaking, he alluded and agreed to the fact that the grounds for impeaching the governor meets the threshold, but the problem is the process. And now that, because I know by the end of this will be sorted the issue of process, because I know our case has no problem with the process, then I don't think they'll have any business. In an event to go to the Senate, I don't think they'll have any business going to the Senate to defend the case, because we'll have sorted the issue of processes, and I believe by the time we finish, they'll agree with us. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I have also learned something new today, that we are all relatives. And maybe through the speaker, I would like to ask the councils, now that I'm married from Meru, whether I have, whether that is incest or what is incest. I would actually like to ask them whether there is anything like incest, because I might have married my sister, and I don't know. And we have a daughter, Madam Speaker, so it's good you be guided on that.
Honorable Jim, do you look the same with your wife? What do people say?
Mr. Speaker, you have also seen my wife, so you can also guide us on that. Mostly I see her in the evening.
Thank you, Honorable Jim. You can continue.
Yeah, so, Mr. Speaker, many issues have been raised. And as Honorable Kawira has stated, I'm still a little bit maybe confused, because the council is arguing that the client that is being is mentioned in the impeachment motion and also in the public participation is not the one they are representing, and they went ahead to come with a letter. I expected the councils to come and read the letter and they say that their client has been wrongly mentioned, or the letter was written to a wrong person, and then leave, and then leave us discuss the stranger. That's what I expected, Mr. Speaker. But coming with a letter and saying that this is not the person being impeached, and then you go ahead to defend a stranger who has not given you instructions, then that shouldn't get into Guinness Book of Records, Mr. Speaker. So it's indeed a great day, Mr. Speaker, because I have heard a very vague argument that I've never heard from a council about the issue of the trip to China. I want to refer the members and also our councils through the speaker to page 68 of the evidence document. And there is a letter. There is a letter written by the county secretary of Meru to the principal secretary. And the letter is referenced, China visit from 7th June to 17th June 2023. Allow me to read some parts of the letter. It is started by saying, following the invitation of the governor of Meru, counted by
Honorable
Beijing.
Jim,
sorry.
please read the letter.
Okay. Following the invitation of the governor of Meru, counted by Beijing League Tech Company Limited of Beijing City, the following technical team is hereby released from 7th June to 17th June 2023 to prepare and guide on the following. Mr. Speaker, up there, I read the whole letter, finally. I heard Council Mutuma say that this was not a government issue, it was a private issue. And I see Council Secretary writing that they were released. Now, the question I've been asking myself, Mr. Speaker, were they released by their mothers or by their fathers to go and benchmark? Or who released them, now that it was not a government issue? Number two, Mr. Speaker, maybe I read now number one, they were supposed to visit Lanak Oncology Plant for the manufacture of radiologic unit for cancer treatment. Also, DRX Ray units assembly plant and the CM units. Number two, what they were supposed to go and do, Mr. Speaker, low-cost affordable housing company with a capacity of 10,000 units in line with the Meru County government plan for low-economy housing. Number three, they were also supposed to visit Futong-guided agricultural machinery development and value additional tools as noted in the university to be visited, and what international cooperation of Zongnov-Tong can offer to Kenya. Actually, you can offer to Kenya. They went actually to represent even the country, the whole country, because they were to find out these things can help Kenya. And now, Mr. Speaker, when Council Mutuma argues that, now, when these employees of the county government went there, and he wants us to believe that it was a private maybe visit. Was it a private visit between the governor as a private citizen or between the county government of Meru? Then is county secretary, a private secretary to the governor. He's the county secretary for Meru County, Mr. Speaker. And now, about these other, the things they were supposed to bench back about. Was the governor supposed to go to come and sell her cows so that now she can come and support these programs they were benchmarking about, so that now it can be private? I would really want to hear that question from our council, so that now we can consider this thing as private. Number two, Council Mutuma said that it was not funded by the county. Actually, I would state in this house, that's an insult. It is spitting in the eyes of the cancer patients in this country. And that thing should stop, Mr. Speaker. Because the issues they went to, especially the issue of cancer, were they supposed to go to benchmark on equipment to go treat the governor or the people of Meru? This was a donation to the people of Meru by this private company. And it was messed up, it was misused, it was mishandled by the governor trying to please our relatives or to reward our relatives. We have allocated in this house, in the office of the governor, a lot of money, Mr. Speaker, a tune of 170 million. Why would you joke with the lives of people, taking your people out for a tour on very serious matters? And actually, he said there was one director. I want to inform our council through the speaker that Dr. George Mungani is a pharmacist. He's a pharmacist. He's not an oncologist. How do you go benchmark for a cancer treatment machine without a single oncologist when this county has so many oncologists, Mr. Speaker? How? How do you go and benchmark on low affordable housing without a single person from the Department of Housing and the department concerned, Mr. Speaker? How do you go and benchmark on issues of agricultural machinery led by a pharmacist and the security officers, Mr. Speaker, and a PA? Now, even if, let's assume they go and learn a lot of things there. Then, in terms of systems, these people are nowhere in this department, so that now they can come and implement these things. Were they supposed to come and implement in the security department, Mr. Speaker? So this is a big joke. So Mr. Speaker, I want to So, Mr. Speaker, another thing that really has shocked us, the governor, and I don't know whether our councils know this, the governor did not go to China. And if she went, our councils will tell us that. She was not among the delegation. Now, the governor was invited. How do you send your PA out there? How do you send your security officers there? And you are left in Kenya to go and benchmark for a cancer treatment machine, Mr. Speaker? If the governor went to say, maybe China is so insecure, she is feared for her life. So, Mr. Speaker, this is misuse of public resources. It's a very high level of nepotism. And then she terms them as a technical team.
Honorable Jim, please, I'll grant you 3 more minutes because you are a senior member of this House. Please conclude your remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, and the county secretary refers them as a technical team. And I also had, that's why, Mr. Speaker, I started by saying I've never heard in my life such a vague argument from a council, because I heard also Council Danson Omari say that these people were approved by the department, by the Foreign Affairs Department and all that. Didn't the council secretary them saying that they are relatives, they are sisters and brothers to the governor? Did he tell them these are security officers? They wrote them as technical teams, and that's the department approved them as technical team. And these are criminals, Mr. Speaker, because they even lied to all those departments up to China. Wherever they passed, they lied that they are technical team. I also hear someone was making a joke, I don't know whether it's a joke, that one of them went disguised as the chair, held the committee in this house. So, what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is that because I have very few minutes.
Honorable Jim, can you verify that information that somebody went disguise himself as the chair of the committee?
Mr. Speaker, I said someone was making a joke, so I don't know whether it's a joke or not.
Jim,
I already said that.
Then we withdraw that one and move on.
Okay, I withdraw, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this county, we have had a serious issue with cancer. And many studies have been done, and they have shown that Meru County is leading in the cancer prevalence in this country. And actually, in the world, Meru is one of the leading areas with cancer in the world, stomach cancer. And Mr. Speaker, when you see a county CEO who jokes with such an issue when they are affecting their county, the question we should ask ourselves as a house is this: how then can a county CEO who misuses?
Honorable Jim, you know I don't want to cut you short because you are a senior member of the House. Please conclude your remarks.
Yes, the question I want this House, as when we go towards concluding this, I want this House to ask themselves is, how then can a county CEO who misuses every opportunity from a donor to help our cancer patients be trusted to make interventions on the prevalence of cancer or manage the cancer prevalence but through allocation of resources and also through policy interventions? The answer is that our governor cannot be trusted with the health of Meru people, and I beseech the members of this House to make sure that we deal with that so that we can have someone who can really guarantee the health of members of this county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Jim. And didn't say that if you are supporting or not.
I support the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Jim. Now, honorable members, please, you know, when my deputy answers up, I have to give him the next opportunity. And then I will come to the whip, Honorable DMK, they are senior members of the House, then I will give further directions from there. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. For the purposes of record, I'm Hali Mwenda, representing Jaward, and the Deputy Speaker of this Honorable Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I'm standing to refute some claims and assumptions that the lead counsel for the governor have really put across, and I'll pick one by Council Danson Omari on freedom of expression. That is Article 33 of our Constitution. And it says every person has the right to freedom of expression, which include freedom to seek, receive, or impart information or ideas. That is one. Two, freedom of artistic creativity. And three, academic freedom and freedom of scientific research. So the same right now, this is why now the council now got it wrong. We may be not lawyers, but we understand law. Now this one now, the same article 33, then it 2 says, the right to freedom of expression does not extend to propaganda, to war, incitement to violence, hate speech, advocacy of hatred. Now this one now includes ethnic incitement, vilification of others, or incitement to cause harm. Now, Honorable Counsel, now you say
Honorable Deputy Speaker, please address the chair and not the council.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Now, when the council says that now the governor is enshrined to freedom of expression, including vilifying, bullying, demeaning other leaders, how do we take now that one? That is a misleading statement from a senior counsel. Misleading statement from a senior counsel, and I think on our accounts on the impeachment of the governor, vilification, bullying, demeaning is one of the count that we've put in our motion. Now, Honorable Speaker, that alone warrants us as an assembly to impeach the governor. In the last one now, that is Council Mwenda. Now, Mwenda says that when we did public participation, we didn't factor it at one level. Now, Honorable Speaker, I guess it is in common knowledge that the advert that we forwarded, in fact, we forwarded public participation factoring at the ward levels. And we have the Meru County Public Act, that is Act 2014 on public participation. And we have levels that, that are enshrined in this act on how we can conduct public participation. It can start at the county level, sub-county level, ward level, village level, or town levels. Now in our act, again, we didn't factor all these things. And as per the announcement that have been going on, we factored public participation at the ward level. Now, Honorable Speaker, much has been said around, but now the council again says that we are impeaching Faith Kawira Mwangaza. And they go ahead and say she's not the governor of Meru. We members of this assembly, Honorable Assembly, we are impeaching the governor of Meru. We are impeaching the governor of Meru. Whether she is Faith Kawira Mwangaza, she is Kawira Mwangaza, Mwangaza Mwenda, Mwangaza Baishu, we are impeaching the governor of Meru County. And that is the business we have here as this Honorable Assembly. So with that, Honorable Speaker, and the last one now to Honorable to Council Mutuma. Hi, Hali Mwenda. I'm speaking on behalf of the residents of Gia Ward. And in fact, I've been a victim of a lot of bullying, vilification, and I guess my sentiment here as I speak are the representative of the people of Gia Ward. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I support the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable members, I give directions. I give directions, Honorable members. Yes, Honorable DMK, who is a senior member of the House. Honorable Murangiri. Honorable Tururu. You know he is more senior than you. And you cannot talk before him once his hand is up. That is the law, not about the Speaker. Thank you. Continue, Honorable DMK.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kawira DMK, MCA for Abogeta West, and the Minority Party Chief Whip. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the impeachment motion of one Governor Kawira Mwangaza, and I support this motion, Mr. Speaker, based on the various allegations that the mover of the motion has alleged against the Honorable Governor of Meru County. And Mr. Speaker, I would like to attack some legal issues that the Council for Governor has.
Honorable DMK, you attack or you respond?
I want to respond, Mr. Speaker, on the various half-truths, Mr. Speaker, that have been issued to this House by the Council for the Honorable Governor. Mr. Speaker, first I want to congratulate the Honorable Dustin Omari for acknowledging that we have a very good motion against the governor, a very strong motion indeed, Mr. Speaker. I know he feels the weight, Mr. Speaker, and that's why they have been running to court, Mr. Speaker, and they have been trying to get orders against this motion, and all the orders they have sought have been denied, Mr. Speaker. The first issue that they have raised, Mr. Speaker, is that there are issues in this motion that are matters that are pending in court. Mr. Speaker, standing on number 90 that they are relying on to say that some matters that we are discussing are sub judice, Mr. Speaker, is negated by studying on number 95 that the Speaker can allow certain issues to be discussed. And in any case, these people who have gone to do these lawsuits in the court are the proxies, Mr. Speaker, that we suspect are acting on the governor to try to frustrate any attempts to impeach her, Mr. Speaker. And in any case, the first instance this House started investigating is the letter that was brought to this House on the 30th of August by the Deputy Governor of Meru County complaining about his mistreatment. So these people went to court after we started our investigations, Mr. Speaker, that have led to this impeachment. It is they that are in sub judice of this House. It is they that have gone to the courts to try and suppress what might come, Mr. Speaker, out of this, Mr. Speaker, House. And Mr. Speaker, they have said that they have attacked almost every item that has been averred against the governor of Meru County by tying it to that particular case, Mr. Speaker, that is at the court of pending at the High Court, Mr. Speaker. But the people who went to the court went after we started our investigation, so we are not bound, Mr. Speaker, by anything that they do at the court after we started these proceedings, after the letter arrived in this assembly on the 30th of August. They cannot produce any case, Mr. Speaker, that is before the courts that can be dated before the 30th of August of 2023. They cannot, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, trying to tell us that we are discussing matters that are before the courts, then they go ahead to defend those matters, Mr. Speaker. They should even stop defending them and go home, Mr. Speaker. Because if at all these matters are before the courts, why are you defending them, Mr. Speaker? Number two, Mr. Speaker, they have told this House, Mr. Speaker, looking at the orders that have been given the courts, but they are telling us the matter where the governor has been quoted for, has been cited for, Mr. Speaker, among others, refusing to act on court orders, Mr. Speaker. They are telling us that these are matters before the court, but the court has pronounced itself that the governor is in contempt of court, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, someone who is in contempt of justice cannot purport to come to this House looking for justice, Mr. Speaker. The maxims of equity dictate that equity does not allow a wrongdoer to profit from a wrong. He who seeks equity must do equity. He who comes into equity must come with clean hands, Mr. Speaker. And the hands of our governor, Mr. Speaker, are not clean. This is someone who has refused to return people to office against the orders of the court. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, this is one of the reasons the courts have denied all the way to the Court of Appeal to listen to her, Mr. Speaker. Because of these simple maxims, Mr. Speaker, that our hands are not clean, even before the justices of the honorable courts. Number two, there is an allegation that the person who is being impeached, Mr. Speaker, should not have the name Faith. Mr. Speaker, even if we remove the name Kawira, Mwangaza, and Faith, and remain with only the governor of Meru County, there are no two governors of this county. There is only one governor, Mr. Speaker. So we can impeach the governor even without talking about the name. You have told us that Faith is a former name that she dropped in 2012, Mr. Speaker. This is her former name, so we can include it, and any alias that she may have used, including, Mr. Speaker, it cannot be Komboko. We can even quote it there if we wanted. But, Mr. Speaker, there is the fact that there is only one governor of Meru County, Bishop Faith Kawira Mwangaza, Mr. Speaker. She has been using the name Bishop. We don't see it in any ID so that we recognize her as a bishop, Mr. Speaker. So we can also say that the use of the name Bishop before her name, even on the placards that she uses to launch projects, Mr. Speaker, is all an exercise, Mr. Speaker, of the wrong person opening projects in this county, Mr. Speaker, because the word Bishop does not even appear anywhere on her name. Mr. Speaker, there is an allegation that the public participation was a one-day exercise and that the members of the public were granted a few hours. Nothing can be further from the truth, and this is a lie, Mr. Speaker. Public participation has been happening for 7 days, Mr. Speaker, from the time the notice was laid on this honorable House. And it has been happening via email from the advert that went out to Daily Nation. Hundreds of emails, Mr. Speaker, of which majority in support of this motion, Mr. Speaker, have been sent to this House. So you cannot purport that public participation has happened for only 1 day, for I don't know, 4 hours. Mr. Speaker, public participation ended even the day after. That is yesterday, Mr. Speaker. That is when public participation ended. And public participation was done at the ward level, and that is what the Public Participation Act of this House of 2015 says. It's only because of challenges of logistics that several wards within one constituency met at one place, and your perusal of the public participation report will make you drop that allegation that public participation was happening for just 1 day, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issue, Mr. Speaker, of Jorincheke oathing, the Council for Governors has alleged that the members of this House, Mr. Speaker, took an oath at the Jorincheke shrine. Mr. Speaker, this is a serious insult, Mr. Speaker, because the Council, the Jorincheke Council of Elders, and I believe, Mr. Speaker, the Council is a Meru. He knows better that, Mr. Speaker, we have traditional prayers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the moment the members appeared before the Council of Elders to be prayed for traditionally, it cannot be treated as an oath. On Sunday, Mr. Speaker, I normally go before a preacher to be prayed for, Mr. Speaker. And it be said that I'm taking an oath. If I am partaking to Christian prayers, I can also partake to traditional prayers, Mr. Speaker. And what was happening at the Njorincheke Shrine, Mr. Speaker, are traditional Meru prayers, Mr. Speaker, whereby they prayed for us the way Meru used to pray traditionally to the God of Nyambene and Kirinyaga, Mr. Speaker, and Kirimara, Mr. Speaker. You cannot subject Africans, Mr. Speaker, to only Western traditions and Western Christian traditions, Mr. Speaker. Some of us here, Mr. Speaker, even married through the customary law. Others are married through the Christian law, Mr. Speaker. Some members here, Mr. Speaker, have more than one wife. We cannot castigate them and judge them based on our Christian values of having one wife, Mr. Speaker. Theirs is a different belief from ours. The elders pray that way, Mr. Speaker, and it was in order for the members to go and get prayed for by their elders, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this constitution is what we are using, Mr. Speaker, to impeach the governor. And I would like to bring the counsel for governor, Mr. Speaker, that
Which
article...
which council about the MK? There are three.
All of them, Mr. Speaker, I'm referring to them as counsel for governor because, Mr. Speaker, they are here on our behalf. They are not here on behalf of themselves or anybody else, but on behalf of the governor of Meru County, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, I thought you are making a reference to one.
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm referring to them as a team.
Continue.
So, Mr. Speaker, Chapter 6 of the Constitution states as follows, Mr. Speaker. Article 75 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Number 1, a state officer shall behave whether in public and official life, in private life, or in association with other persons in a manner that avoids 1, any conflict between personal interest and public or official duties. 2, compromising any public or official interest in favor of a personal interest, or demeaning the office the officer holds, Mr. Speaker. The governor of Meru County has made us not to be proud of to be Merus anymore, Mr. Speaker. Not very many people, Mr. Speaker, want to be mentioned in the same line with being Merus. You're being asked, are you the ones who elected this governor, who is insulting everybody? The governor of Meru County has broken this constitution by demeaning that office. Our conduct is not the conduct that is expected of someone who holds that office, Mr. Speaker. I know various issues have been cited from verification, Mr. Speaker, from Mr. Speaker, naming roles after the husband, Mr. Speaker, which can be both be put together to be gross, Mr. Speaker, and qualified to be grounds of impeaching the county governor, Mr. Speaker. This is a serious ground, and we cannot be, Mr. Speaker, be misled to think that the governor of Meru County, Mr. Speaker, has a right to behave anyhow she wants. She has, Mr. Speaker, someone, the Council for Governor, Mutuma, Mr. Speaker, said that the governor was joking when naming a road after the husband. Mr. Speaker, the voters of Meru County did not elect a comedian. The voters of Meru County did not elect a joker. The voters came out in August 2022, Mr. Speaker, to elect the CEO of this county, the governor of Meru County. She is expected to carry herself as the governor of Meru County, not a comedian, to be naming roles after the husband, to be sending the family, Mr. Speaker, on official duties, pretending they are private business, Mr. Speaker. And the council goes on to tell us, Mr. Speaker, that this was a private invitation to benchmark. There cannot be benchmarking in a company that manufactures machines. This is a company that wants to bring machines here to be used for cancer patients. They never went to China to a hospital so that they can benchmark. They went to a limited company that makes machines that are supposed to be brought to this county, Mr. Speaker, to be used and utilized to treat cancer, Mr. Speaker. So they cannot be sent to be a private trip to benchmark, Mr. Speaker, to see, I don't know, to visit. This was an invitation to see the technology that we have right now for treating cancer. And Mr. Speaker, someone who carries a pistol, who is a trained officer, Mr. Speaker, to protect the governor, cannot tell us they went there because they are the governor's security and the governor was not there. Let everyone stick to their profession. Let the oncologists be the ones to be sent, Mr. Speaker, to benchmark. You cannot use public funds, Mr. Speaker, even to travel to Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. Maybe even their trip in China was funded by China, Mr. Speaker. But you find claims that these officers use money. That's why they were looking for these approvals, Mr. Speaker, for their local travel to, and when they were coming back, Mr. Speaker. So you cannot use a coin of public funds, Mr. Speaker, not even to buy a biscuit, Mr. Speaker, without following the due process. Mr. Speaker, the Council for Governor, that is one Dastan Omari, Mr. Speaker, I've heard something before this Honorable House that we passed the budget, the governor, the office of the governor is using to illegally employ people, that we are guilty, that we should be guilty as a house, Mr. Speaker, because we passed the budget, Mr. Speaker. It's like telling a parent, Mr. Speaker, it's because, Mr. Speaker, it's like telling a parent, Mr. Speaker, because you sent your child to school and the child was hit by a bus, that is your mistake. We passed the budget, we gave it to the governor. In one instance, we gave her even directions to give us, Mr. Speaker, policy directions on how she's going to buy live animals. She never brought them. She started doing okolea, Mr. Speaker, with money meant for buying live animals without any policy. We gave her money to pay the required number of staff who are that 8 in our office. She used this to stretch and pay people peanuts to employ many without going through the service board. Then she employed, Mr. Speaker, 103 people masqueraded as senior staff, others as cleaners. Then she employed them, Mr. Speaker, and on further interrogation, some of them are mother-daughter, with birth certificates attached, without any shame. And then you tell us we are guilty because we passed the budget, as if we should not deny the office of the governor budget for staff. She goes and overstretches. Then we are told not to do oversight. What we are doing is the oversight for the funds we allocated. And that oversight includes impeachment, Mr. Speaker. One of the duties allocated to this House by the Constitution is oversight, legislation, representation, Mr. Speaker. And the fourth one that is not very pronounced, impeachment, Mr. Speaker. And that's why we are here today. The question of gender that was brought by Dustin Omari, Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge the Council to stay and see how the female members of this House will vote. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether the voters of Meru were not gender sensitive when they were electing a female governor. And like I suggested to someone who called, Mr. Speaker, to suggest that we are impeaching the governor because of her gender. And that county as a female governor, I told them to give us theirs, we give them ours. Mr. Speaker, traffic marshals. The Council for Governor Dustin Omari said that the traffic marshals have solved so many problems, and we should not be talking about them, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, we are not talking about them. Mr. Speaker, there exists an enforcement unit that has been hired regularly in this county, Mr. Speaker. Just because it's not the governor who hired them, she pushed them aside, created officers called traffic marshals, bought some bikes, hired people. She wrote first of all to the County Public Service Board, the letters are here. The Public Service Board refused to create those offices. She negated that advice. She created them herself, then masqueraded them in the payroll as cleaners. Then gave them bikes. Of course, they are doing all these arrests, or the arbitrary arrests and everything, and to make us up. What was the procedure of employing them? Why not use the existing enforcement officers in this county, Mr. Speaker, who are now jobless because their jobs have been taken over by bouncers, Mr. Speaker, in the name of traffic marshals, who are harassing even people in town. Because if you listen to what the governor was saying from the video is, Mr. Speaker, she was saying, we want to use them to oversight county employees. They're even harassing county employees. We want to use them to oversight people who are collecting revenue to see whether they are eating the revenue. Mr. Speaker, she has her own oversight when she is supposed to be oversighted. Reverse roles, Mr. Speaker. The role of oversight is not ours. It's not for her to create traffic marshals to oversight county officers. It's for this House, Mr. Speaker, to oversight everybody who is employed in this county, Mr. Speaker. The governor, Mr. Speaker, the other lie we were told is that the deputy governor is claiming to have used money, yet he is claiming that he has no roles, Mr. Speaker. It's not up to the governor to decide when the deputy governor has roles. These roles have been allocated by the Constitution. When we went for the Nakuru meeting of all the leaders of this county, Mr. Speaker, the deputy governor could not have been left or go to seek for permission from the governor, because this is one of the instances where he spent his own money to facilitate his staff, to get them where they're going to sleep so that we can attend the State House meeting in Nakuru, Mr. Speaker.
Since he was not in speaking terms with the governor, Mr. Speaker, he fueled his car, he did everything on his own. Whereas he should be facilitated as an officer, Mr. Speaker, who came to office through the Constitution. So when the lawyer tries, Mr. Speaker, to give us half-truths that it's up to the governor to decide what the deputy governor does, Mr. Speaker, nothing can be further from the truth. Then the lawyer went aside to tell us, Mr. Speaker, that the governor of Meru County delivers a mandate, Mr. Speaker, from a manifesto. I never saw her swearing in holding the manifesto, Mr. Speaker, when she was sworn in. I saw her holding the Constitution and promising to abide by it, Mr. Speaker. So we are going to subject her to the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, not to the manifesto, Mr. Speaker. That is a foreign document to this House. The voters elected the manifesto of creating marshals, Mr. Speaker, like they are averring, Mr. Speaker. Nothing can be further from the truth. And Mr. Speaker, this issue that the governor of Meru County, our actual name is just Kawira Mwangaza, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my name on my ID used to be Dennis Kiogora Peter. But Mr. Speaker, I changed my name to Dennis Kiogora DMK. Mr. Speaker, I do not get offended whenever I see documents in this House referring to me still as Dennis Kiogora Peter, because that was still my name, Mr. Speaker. And to continue, even my bank accounts, Mr. Speaker, my certificates, Mr. Speaker, are like that, and I use them, and they get accepted, Mr. Speaker. And I know you know very well, learned counsels, that these are the things in the law that are called, Mr. Speaker, de minimis non curat lex. The law does not concern itself with trivial things, Mr. Speaker. These are just trivialities that cannot be admitted in this House, that cannot be admitted to be part of the motion, Mr. And if at all they believed it's not always been impeached, they should not even have bothered to go to the courts, filing numerous lawsuits that have been thrown out all the way to the Court of Appeal, Mr. Speaker. Even as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the learned counsel, Dustin Omari, Mr. Speaker, lied to this House, Mr. Speaker. The governor cannot be, Mr. Speaker, penalized through impeachment, Mr. Speaker. The Constitution, Mr. Speaker, says that anyone who breaks any part that I read in Article 75 is to be removed from office, Mr. Speaker, through the prescribed process. Then he tells us the governor cannot be punished for the acts of the juniors, Mr. Speaker, of the county secretary. Whereas we have seen letters where the county secretary signs, and down there he says for the governor. Just because the governor has allocated the responsibility of writing documents that they discuss or they agree on. For example, the ones of hiring 8 more chief officers, Mr. Speaker, without the approval of the County Public Service Board, it is signed by the county secretary for the governor, Mr. Speaker. She will be punished for what she did and what she never did. If the county governor, Mr. Speaker, is not the one who is responsible for this, then she should have fired the county secretary. Because the county secretary is still at work, so if at all he is doing things without consulting the governor and appointing people left, right, and center and transferring people, Mr. Speaker, then the governor ought to be punished for leaving our office, Mr. Speaker, naked, so that somebody else can be put into that office who is going to see what is happening, Mr. Speaker. So whether she omitted, Mr. Speaker, acting, or she committed by acting directly, Mr. Speaker, she is guilty as charged. Then, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I would like to quote what the Supreme Court judges gave as an authority. And they have quoted Wambora here, Mr. Speaker. What they should know is that the Wambora case has been vacated. It's no longer an authority, Mr. Speaker, to be quoted anywhere, leave alone by senior counsels, Mr. Speaker. They need to know that, Mr. Speaker. The authority that we can rely on is the Sonko case, because that one went to the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker. And it has learned that any other ruling on impeachment, Mr. Speaker, dead law. And Mr. Speaker, the honorable judges of the Supreme Court ruled as follows, Mr. Speaker. The removal of our governor is both a constitutional and a political process. The mandate of the courts is restricted by the doctrine of separation of powers to determine whether individual rights, dignity, and fundamental freedoms have been preserved and protected in the process without usurping the powers and functions of the legislative branch of government. During the process of removal, the right to fair administrative action under the Article 47 and the right to fair hearing under Article 50 of the Constitution all accrue to the governor. And then 7 says, Mr. Speaker, 7, Mr. Speaker, the removal of a governor relates to accountability, political governance, and personal responsibility, and is not necessarily about criminal responsibility and capability, Mr. Speaker. The grounds for impeachment and removal from office must be substantiated. The standard of proof is immediate. That is above a balance of probability, but below all reasonable doubt. Below all reasonable doubt. And the proof of any one of those charges is sufficient to discharge the burden of proof. So, Mr. Speaker, unlike them, whenever, Mr. Speaker, whenever we are referring to authorities, Mr. Speaker, to impeachment, to always remind ourselves that Governor Sonko and Governor Waititu were removed from office, Mr. Speaker. And the Governor Sonko case is the authority that can be relied on, Mr. Speaker, because it's going to guide the courts. If this House goes ahead and impeaches the governor, and the Senate does that, and the governor goes to court, this is what will guide the process. We are standing here guided, Mr. Speaker. We cannot, Mr. Speaker, pretend that we are not subject to that Supreme Court ruling, Mr. Speaker. I want to end, Mr. Speaker, there by urging this Honorable House to look at these, Mr. Speaker, issues, the generality of them, the summary of them all, Mr. Speaker. They are so gross, Mr. Speaker, and, Mr. Speaker, that they have to be relied upon by the members when deciding to impeach the governor. And I would like, Mr. Speaker, to remind the Honorable Counsel, Dustin Omari. He said we should not refer to the previous impeachment, Mr. Speaker. I would like to update him a little bit on the County Governments Act, Mr. Speaker. Article 33, Part 8, it says, if a vote in the Senate fails to result in the removal of the governor, the Speaker of the Senate shall notify the Speaker of the concerned county assembly accordingly, and the motion by the assembly for the removal of the governor on the same charges may only be reintroduced on the same charges, may only be reintroduced to the Senate on the expiry of 3 months from the date of such a vote. Mr. Speaker, this motion can fail at the Senate, and after 3 months we go back with it the same way it is, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, the honorable members are right to refer to the previous impeachment, Mr. Speaker. We couldn't even have used it, Mr. Speaker, to impeach the governor without even the new motion, Mr. Speaker, because the law allows it, Mr. Speaker. So the law of double jeopardy, Mr. Speaker, does not apply in this matter as the law stipulates. I beg to support the motion.
Thank you, Honorable DMK. Aurelio, I'll give you 5 minutes and then go to another second before I'm also accused of being gender sensitive.
Thank you.
He has been raising his hand. Yes, continue. Represent the people of Mudara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. For purpose of records, my name is Murangere Aurelio Kiramana, representing the great people of Mudara. And I stand to support the impeachment motion against the governor of Meru, Kawira, Mwangaza. And let me refer to Dunstan Omari Council. I'm happy that, as my friend stated, he said that the allegations are serious. The allegations before this house are quite serious. But he also went ahead to say that this matter is sub judice. I would want to take him to page 441, whereby there is a ruling by Justice Onesimus N. Macau, and one of the things that he stated is that until the contempt is purged, the respondent, who is one and none other than Governor Kawira Mwangaza, will not have any audience before this court. I want to say that she has been in contempt of court for so long until the courts are tired of her. And that's why they took that direction. I want to say that this assembly today is doing the Meru residents a favor to discuss what the courts have refused to discuss. They have taken the higher route to go ahead and discuss the malpractices that our governor, Kawira Mwangaza, has been day on, day in, day out, perpetuating. And I want to say that on that one, I believe that, again, you say that this assembly is, or whatever process is happening today, is a quasi-judicial process. And in that matter, it means that this court today, which is also anchored in the Constitution, has the same powers as those of the High Court in this country. So whatever the decision that this court, this assembly makes today, is not going to be any less by law, because there is something that is waiting in court to be discussed. So I want to say that on that matter, I don't think this motion that we are discussing today is sub judice. Now, I want to mention that the China issue, whereby we had employees going to China. I want to say that if you go to Article 10(2) of the Constitution, whereby we have the national values and principles of governance, you will realize that the rule of law is one of them. It says the maxim, it's anchored on the maxim that no one is above the law. Further, the law is allowed to punish anyone who breaches it. Further, it is contained in the Civil Procedure Act. And that's why I think even the courts went ahead to pronounce itself on the contempt against court orders by the governor. I want to say further on the principles of governance, we have good governance as one of them. It further says that decisions should be made and implemented through consultation to further proper management of public affairs and resources. And further says that collective decision making and implementation of such decisions should be made. I want to say that in this case of the China, whereby we had employees going to China, or rather relatives of the governor going to China, I want to ask just a simple question. Did good governance play in that decision? Was there consultation for it to be decided and implemented? Again, you say that this was a personal invitation. I want to take you to page page 69. The invitation. It is to Her Excellency. The name Her Excellency came about by the fact that she's a governor. Let's start from there. Her Excellency Kawira Mwangaza, Governor, County Government of Meru, P.O. Box, that address, which is a county address, not a personal address. So it was addressed to the governor in our official capacity as the governor. Secondly, we go ahead and read invitation for a visit to China. We are delighted to invite you and your distinguished members. I want you, maybe in your response, to describe who these distinguished members are in respect to Meru County, which the governor is the CEO, to visit us in China for you to witness and benchmark our state-of-art linear accelerator machines designed and manufactured in China in reference, underline the word reference, to our planned cancer treatment center in Meru. I don't think the governor has got any cancer treatment center of our own. It belongs to the people of Meru. It belongs to the county government of Meru. And everything that was happening in this trip was official. Father, I want to take you. You mentioned that in Meru, we are all relatives. That's what you said. And her taking her sister and the brother and the husband to the sister cannot be nepotism. Should I ask this? That now that we are told from the Bible we all come from Adam and Eve, are we all brothers and sisters in that manner? Are we all related in that manner, that we all came from Adam and Eve? Secondly, I want to ask, what about those who don't believe in the mythologies that you give? We are not all Christians. We have Muslims, we have Buddhists, we have people who are in Meru, but they don't believe in that analogy. So you must be lying to these people and to the great people of Meru. Again, I want to say that if you check on the issue of nepotism, it is clearly mentioned it is mentioned that you cannot use your position, you cannot take advantage of your position to give undue advantage to any member or even to yourself against the interests of the public. I want to ask something, that now that you say that these are government, the guards or the bodyguards belong to the National Police Service, and they are not even employed by the county, they draw a salary from there. I want to ask you, the governor was not going to China. What were they doing in China, representing the people of Meru in China, whereas their duty, they assigned the duty from, or before they were seconded, or the reason they were seconded is to protect the governor of Meru. Can we say they even left the governor of Meru at a risk of being harmed by not having protectors or the guards who are assigned to her legally? Again, if it is all about, sending a soldier or sending someone who is a police officer in this Meru, can we not have any other police officer sent? It only has to be her brother or her sister. Could these other officers not want to go there? So there is clear conflict of interest in the manner in which she carried out herself on this matter. Or rather, in the manner in which the county, whether it is the county secretary, whether it is the governor, in which it was carried out. And we cannot really go to look far, whereas we know that these are the brothers and sisters, and ask who say that they go. That is what I want to say. And I want to say, there are so many things to say, but there are so many members to say things. And there are many things to say. There is one word that has been used in this motion severally, the word conniving. The word conniving is trying to hide from the facts using very slippery methods. And I think the governor has been doing that, and I think the counsel to the governor is also following suit, trying to lie to the people of Meru and trying to lie to this county assembly on so many aspects. And I want to say this, that alluding to the story of Jonah in the Bible, that when the boat left and Jonah had been sent to Nineveh and he refused, what happened is that the boat was rocked by very strong winds. And unfortunately, when the people realized there was a problem, Jonah himself came out and said that I, Jonah, is the one at wrong, and I'm the one causing this. Throw me at sea. But the people could not believe it. They didn't want to harm Jonah. They didn't want Jonah to die. They continued praying to the Lord to stop the strong winds so that they could sail on. Unfortunately, it could not stop. Finally, they believed, but they repented before throwing Jonah into the water. They say that, God, we pray that you forgive us for this action that we are about to do. And they threw Jonah into the water. It has come for a time in Meru County, whereby we will not let the whole boat, Meru County, to capsize. Let us throw Jonah into the water. Let us have Jonah. God will help Jonah along the way, and the boat will be safe. That is what I want to say. And I want to say, in the last motion I said, Meru needs a radical surgery. It doesn't need first aid. What you people are giving us is first aid, and it will not heal. It is a cancer that is slowly eating Meru, and we hope that this time round we'll have a radical surgery on this county, and this county will prosper. And if it doesn't, I want to quote Che Guevara. He said, if injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. It will be the duty of this assembly to do exactly that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the motion to impeach the Governor, Kawira Mwangaza.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Morangi. Honorable members, I gave instructions and directions. Honorable Secondina, please take the floor. If you don't use that one, you can use the mic at the front.
Thank you.
You can come at the front, Honorable Secondina. Kanini Wundi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. For purposes of record, I'm Secondina Kanini Bundi, member of this Honorable House, nominated by Bas Party. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the impeachment motion. And Mr. Speaker, as I stand here, I heard one of the councils trying to talk about gender. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm a woman, I'm a member of this house. And Mr. Speaker, I'm supporting this motion, and I'm supporting not because the governor is a woman. I'm supporting it because of the governance issues pertaining the office of the governor, and the people of Meru voted a woman already to be the CEO of this country, or this county, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, when we are impeaching the governor, we are not impeaching her because she's a woman. Mr. Speaker, we are impeaching her because she's a governor and she has been able to govern the county government of Meru. Mr. Speaker, one of the councils, I think it's Council Omari, I've heard him say that we have no mandate as this house to petition or summon the governor. Mr. Speaker, I want to refer him to Article 195 and Article 185. Article 185.3 says this: a county assembly will, respecting the principle of the separation of powers, may exercise oversight over the county executive committee and any other executive organ. Article 95.1 says a county assembly or any of its committees has power to summon any person, and underline the word any person, to appear before it for the purposes of giving evidence or providing information. For the purposes of clause 1, an assembly has the same powers as the High Court to 1A, enforce the attendance of witness and examine them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise. Compare the production of documents, and C, issue a commission or request to examine the witness abroad. Mr. Speaker, I was referring to that because Council said we have no powers to summon a governor. Unless you tell us a governor is I don't know, God or who, he is anybody, he is a county officer who we can summon to this county assembly, to any committee or the full house, Mr. Speaker. So I want them to argue that we have powers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Section 39 of County Government Act 2012. They have said also the governor cannot be asked question on behalf of the CECs or something. Yes, Mr. Speaker, Section 39, accountability of the executive committees. The members of the county executive committee are individually and collectively accountable to the governor. Because, Mr. Speaker, the governor is the appointing authority. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, there is no way the governor can run away from his executive team, the CECs, because he is the one who has appointed them and they are acting on our behalf, Mr. Speaker. And I believe there is nothing the executive, members of the executive of the governor does without the knowledge of the governor. Therefore, the governor is culpable and he is responsible for any mismanagement, for any misrepresentation which is done by his executive members. Mr. Speaker, I've heard one of the council saying that there is no county assembly in this Kenya which has ever summoned a governor to the assembly of the committee. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell them we can set a precedent. And Mr. Speaker, I want to tell them that we don't work under any influence of any county government in this country. We are a devolved function and we are fully here and we are there to exercise our duties and we know our roles very well. Therefore, I want to tell them that we are here even to send a precedent. Even the other counties should be coming to benchmark from us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary Nabundi. Yes, Honorable Spora. Then I'll give further directions from there.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. For purposes of records, I'm Zipporah, popularly known as NK. I'm also the de facto chair of oversight in this house. And I rise, Honorable Speaker, to support the motion that is on the floor of the of this honorable house. And I would want to start by congratulating the councils for the governor, because actually the council Dunstan Omari has really addressed non-issues, and he has really convinced me on the side that I should vote. Because I expected the council to address the issues that have been raised, but he did not address the issues. He ran away from the issues and addressed non-issues to me. Then number two, to the other council, Areas Mutuma, thank you very much too, because the council has just preached to us. Today did not address any issues. I think the council decided to do some conversion through preaching, and I think council, you have done very well. And what I'm saying is that to me, the presentations of the councils has really convinced me, Honorable Speaker, that we have a very strong case against the governor, and that is the reason as to why I support the impeachment of the governor of Meru, Kawira Mwangaza. And I really want to concentrate on the allegation number 4, allegation, or the count number 4, on the illegal appointment of county government officers by the county government of Meru. And Honorable Speaker, I would want to note that the governor of Meru can never run away from anything that happens in the county government of Meru in terms of governance, as long as she is the governor of Meru. She cannot run away, because she is supposed to be responsible and accountable for every and each deed that is carried out by the officers that she supervises on daily basis. So I would want to note that in that regard, Honorable Speaker, I would want to note that we have had very serious allegations that have been raised by the mover of the motion on illegal appointments on the chief officers. Honorable Speaker, it is only in the county of Meru you will find a ward administrator at Job Group J is appointed to act as a chief officer to supervise directors in Job Group R, to supervise deputy directors at Job Group Q, to supervise other officers going down the randa. I would want to say it happens only in the county of Meru. That is where it only happens. Mr. Honorable Speaker, I would also want to bring to the attention of this House, we have a director of enforcement, acting director, who is in Job Group C. Job Group C is not even an entry grade for the certificate holders, leave alone the graduates. So Mr. Speaker, I really wonder how that director at Job Group C will supervise the officers in Job Group R, Job Group P, Job Group Q, going down the randa. It only happens in Meru County. Honorable Speaker, I would want to say that in the, I want to refer the council on the Human Resource Manual 2016, Section 15(3), that stipulates officers shall not be called upon to act more than 2 job groups above their substantive grade. This has seriously been violated in Meru County. We have very, very junior officers, Honorable Speaker, that are acting in very senior positions. And I want to tell the Meru County residents, the Kenyan people, that Meru County Public Service has seriously been compromised. I would also want to note, Honorable Speaker, that the same government has been appointing officers to non-existent vacancies. You find that, Honorable Speaker, there is a substantively appointed officer in an office, and then somebody else is appointed in acting capacity. And this one is also a contravention. It is a contravention of County Government Act Section 69(2), where it says, Honorable Speaker, a public officer shall not be discriminated to hold office that is not vacant. So we have many directors, Honorable Speaker, that have been appointed on acting capacities in positions that have substantive holders, and I've always wondered where those substantive holders are. In this regard, Honorable Speaker, I sought a statement from the county government of Meru on the status of deployment of directors in the county government of Meru. Since June, I have not gotten a response. Council Omar said that we have not been doing anything as a house. But I would want Honorable Speaker to report to this house. We have sought statements in regard to deployment of officers in the county government offices, and they have not been forthcoming. We have summoned the county secretary in this to come here, Honorable Speaker, and all these are not forthcoming. And then, Honorable Speaker, the council also said the public service board has not done its work, or they have not been doing their work. In the extract on exhibits, page 335, I have seen a letter from the Meru County Public Service Board advising the county government of Meru against usurping the powers of the county public service board. And Speaker, if you can allow me, I can read this letter because it's a serious contravention.
Please do as you conclude your remarks.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is an advisory on transfer and appointments from the Meru County Public Service Board to all chief officers through the county secretary and the head of public service, dated 22nd December 2022. And I want to note, Honorable Speaker, this is exactly the time when we were impeaching the governor of Meru, Kawira Mwangaza, the first time. And despite all these communications, she did not take notes. Reference is advisory on transfers and appointments, and reference is made to a memo referenced CGM/CS/IM 3/3/286 of 6 December 2022. This advisory is to emphasize the message by the county secretary that arbitrary transfers without due consultation with the CS's office is discouraged at all times. Transfers and deployments should be done as a form of reprimand. Staff transfer should address issues such as staff service balance, leave relievers, and staff development, among other positive reasons, as guided by the Section 43 of the PSC Act 2017, Section 36 and 40 of the Public Service Regulations 2020, and the PSC HR Manual 2016 with respect to establishment of offices, appointments, including acting appointments at all levels of staff. Please note that it is the sole statutory responsibility of the county public service board as guided by the section 59 subsection 1 A and B, 63 and 64 of the County Government Act 2012, read together with sections that 4 PSC Act 2017 and section 16 and 23 of the PSC regulations of 2020. Any other appointments done outside this is deemed null and void. To conclude, Honorable Speaker, that is from the Secretary Public Service Board, CPA CS Virginia Kawira. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, because the county government of Meru under the Governor Kawira Mwangaza is not ready to adhere to any advice from anybody that is mandated to run this county, I'm saying the public service is in total mess in Meru County, and I want to say because of that, Kawira Mwangaza must go. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Sandikei. But initially, when you are making your contribution, you refer to Council Mutuma and the Council Dunstan as having done some preaching. Please, they are not. Those are professional lawyers, and let's respect those brothers of ours. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Muri.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Speaker. Kwa sababu ya kumbukumbu za rekodi nafahamika kama Mheshimiwa Mredhi nikiwakilisha wadi ya Gebest. Na Mheshimiwa Speaker, hii ni siku ambayo ni mura sana ambapo ninafuraha mpito kumuona mwalimu mwenzangu na pia wakili Dunstan Amari. Na kile Mheshimiwa Speaker ningependa kusema nama kuanza tu sisi alipoanzisha utangulizi wake alisema kwamba tunajikita katika umenke ama kifeministi. Sisi hatuna umenke kwa sababu tunawaheshimu sana wanawake ama wale ambao waliteuliwa katika vitengo mbalimbali vya uongozi. Mheshimiwa Speaker, sisi kile ambacho tunashughulika nacho ni uozo wa kimaadili wa kuendesha katika ili gatuzi la Meru. Mheshimiwa Speaker, na Mheshimiwa Speaker, nikirejelea haya nikisema kwamba hatujikiti katika umenke, unaona kwamba sisi hatudhalilishi jinsia ya kike. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ili hali gavana ndiye anatumia fursa hii kujidhalilisha mwenyewe. Mathalan, Mheshimiwa Speaker, unapoangazia wale ambao wametumika katika kufuja fedha, hali maarufu Kadhure Rukaria Catherine ambaye ametumika na kile kitengo kufuja takriban milioni 29, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ni wa jinsia ya kike. Mheshimiwa Speaker, pia ukiangazia Lucy ambaye ameteuliwa na gavana, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ametumika vile vile. Tumeona kwamba takriban milioni 6.8 zimefujwa. Mheshimiwa Speaker, Rose Gwantai, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ambaye ni mnuna, ambaye ni umbu. Mheshimiwa Speaker, huyu ni umbu ambaye ni umbu wa Mheshimiwa gavana ambao pia ni ndanda watoka nitoka. Mheshimiwa Speaker, na ni wa jinsia ile. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ukimwangalia pia Jane Karemi Kaedhi, Mheshimiwa Speaker, takriban milioni 3.8. Mheshimiwa Speaker, sasa ndipo sana nauliza, sisi ndio tutadhalilisha jinsia ya kike tukileta ufeministi, tukileta umenke, ama ni gavana mwenyewe ambaye anaendesha haya mambo? Mheshimiwa Speaker, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ningependa kusema hivi Mheshimiwa Speaker, kwamba sisi ni wa Meru na hivi kwamba tunaheshimu utamaduni. Mheshimiwa Speaker, njuri ncheke ndio wanatumua pale ambapo kuna mitafaruku, pale ambapo kuna migogoro. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ambayo inafaa kuzoa ile migogoro ikizindi zaidi. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ndipo sasa mtu anaenda kotini ama anakuja katika kitengo hiki. Mheshimiwa Speaker, Mheshimiwa Speaker, gavana wetu angetia masikio kama hakutia masikio yake ntaa. Mheshimiwa Speaker, kama hakutia masikio haya pamba, Mheshimiwa Speaker, angesikiza hawa washauri na asikize maoni ya Wameru. Mheshimiwa Speaker, haya mambo yangefika hapa. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ndipo sasa nasema kwamba kwenda katika kile kitengo cha njuri ncheke, sisi hatukulazimishwa kula kiapo, lakini tunawaheshimu sana wale wazee, maana wako na maarifa na tajriba ya uongozi katika ile gatuzi. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ningependa kusema Mheshimiwa Speaker kwamba ni gatuzi la Meru peke yake ambalo nimeona kwamba gavana anajitoa moja kwa moja, anajirusha katika gari Mheshimiwa Speaker, na anaambia askari sema pole. Sijaona hayo mambo kwingine Mheshimiwa Speaker. Vile ambavyo Dunstan alisema kwamba sisi ili gatuzi hajaona gatuzi ambalo limemwita gavana, wacha nimjuze kwamba gatuzi la Meru ndilo liko na wasomi, liko na vijana na ambao wako na ruya ya Ibra. Wako na ruya ya Ibra vipi? Leo miaka 30 kesho miaka 40 kuwa mwakilishi bunge, kesho kutwa kuwa gavana, mtondo kuwa seneta, Mheshimiwa Spika. Hiyo ruyo ya Ibra, Mheshimiwa Spika, haiwezi timilika tu tukinjikita tukataka kusoma haya mambo alafu tuelekeze wa Meru jinsi ambavyo mambo yanafaa kwenda, Mheshimiwa Spika. Mwana ufuate kisoko cha nini, Mheshimiwa Spika, na mtu uende ile kwa nyenzo. Mbona nikasema hivi? Ukimwona Kiambi Adhero ambaye ni katibu mkuu aliitwa katika hili bunge, hakuja. Ukimwangalia pia Nchamba Mbedhi aliitwa katika hili bunge, hakuja. Sasa bwana Ndastan, utatuambia kwamba sisi gavana ako kwa mtindo ambao wafaa, ili hali wale ambao ni wandogo wake, ama hili bunge alifai kuwaita wale waje? Naona kuna uwezo, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na tukikataa kusema hivi, Mheshimiwa Spika, wa Meru hatajua ukweli, Mheshimiwa Spika. Hebu nisema hivi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ili kuboresha hadhi na heshima ya Meru, Mheshimiwa Spika, ili kuboresha rasilimali na miundo msingi ya Meru, Mheshimiwa Spika, ili mtoto wa Meru awe na raha, Mheshimiwa Spika, ili awe na raha mpitipito, Mheshimiwa Spika, na ili Mheshimiwa Spika kumaliza uozo na maandili katika gatuzi ile, Mheshimiwa Spika, Kawira aenda, Mheshimiwa Spika. Sisi tulimpenda sana. Sisi tulipenda Kawira sana, lakini huu mswanda ukampenda zaidi. Huu mswanda ulimpenda zaidi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ndipo tunamtakia kila laheri, Mungu amweke pema kwa viongozi wa vikundi kule vijijini. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Spika, na kauli na Mungu amponye.
Yes, before I'll give everybody, those members raising hands, to make a contribution. Honorable Kidenje Daiba, please make your contribution. And before Kidenje makes a contribution, please, honor members, restrict yourself to at least 3 minutes. If you can be able to do that, then we will save on time. Thank you, Honorable Kidenje Daiba, senior member of this House from 2013.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is John Kidenje Daiba, representing Commonwealth. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this impeachment motion with the Governor, Meru County, Honorable Kawira Mwangaza. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Kidenje Daiba, please use the mic at the front so that the cameras can be able to capture you. I can see they are streaming.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is John Kidenje Daiba, representing Commonwealth, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand here to support the impeachment motion of Governor of Meru, Honorable Kawira Mwangaza. Mr. Speaker, this is a great day for Meru County, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, for the last 1 year, Meru has not experienced any peace. Mr. Speaker, sir, although we are told that Meru is getting happy, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that Meru has been very sad. Mr. Speaker, it is today, through this impeachment motion, that we want to make Meru happy. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to interrogate some of the issues that have been raised by the councils representing the governor, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, today it is very sad for the young generation, Mr. Speaker, especially who are following these proceedings, Mr. Speaker, because if a council can stand here in this honorable house and say that this county assembly has no power to summon a governor, Mr. Speaker, I think, Mr. Speaker, that is very sad. Because, Mr. Speaker, last year, to be specific, on 7th of October 2022, Mr. Speaker, the Supreme Court, through a court ruling, Mr. Speaker, gave a ruling, Mr. Speaker, which I want to read verbatim, Mr. Speaker. The court also ruled that the county assemblies, Mr. Speaker, have the power for oversight of a county government. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the county assemblies are the same powers. Sorry, I've read Article 195. I want to read the Supreme Court ruling, Mr. Speaker. The Supreme Court on Friday, the 7th October 2022, declared that the Senate, let me read the Senate page, Mr. Speaker. I want to read about the county assemblies. The court also ruled, Mr. Speaker, that the county assemblies have the power of oversight of a county government revenue, whether nationally allocated or locally generated. This means that the county assembly or any of the committees has power to summon any person, and like that, any person, including a governor, to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our constitution, Mr. Speaker, was done by senior lawyers who are in this house this afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, for the council, Mr. Speaker, whom we respect so much, Mr. Speaker, to come here this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, and say that the county assemblies, Mr. Speaker, have no power, Mr. Speaker, it shows, Mr. Speaker, that they are also acting against the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, which is very bad, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the other hand, Mr. Speaker, I want to dispute the argument by Council Dunstan Omari, Mr. Speaker, who was trying to convince us that we are all relatives, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that can't be far from the truth, Mr. Speaker, because we cannot say that we are all related, which means then all our marriages, because we are married our sisters, we are married our brothers, all these marriages need to be nullified because we are married our sisters, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to explain to Council Omari, Mr. Speaker, about nepotism. Mr. Speaker, and I refer to a Google explanation, Mr. Speaker, because Google is one of the authorities, Mr. Speaker, that we rely on nowadays, Mr. Speaker. And it says, the practice among those with